this is William Watkins from the Cyber Education Center. This is the first class in HTML. So let's get started. What is HTML? HTML is hypertext markup language used to create documents on the website. HTML provides the basic structure for all websites. In HTML, you have tags. HTML contains tags that help structure and organize text. It includes structure for tables, images. It also provides structure for any forms that you create and in tables. And it provides links to other documents and other pages. When we talk about the basic syntax of HTML, we have to understand that they come in pairs. The basic syntax of HTML is made up of tags, attributes, and elements. HTML tags are tag names surrounded by angle brackets. As you see below, HTML enclosed by angle brackets. Let's talk about the syntax. As I said before, that tags usually come in pairs. In this particular case, you have a body tag, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And notice you have an opening body tag and a closing body tag. And above, you can see that the closing body tag is denoted by a slash. And anything in between there, any content will be placed in between the opening body tag and the closing body tag. Tags. The first tag in the opening tag, as we talked about before, the second tag is the closing tag. The closing tag has a forward slash. If you take a look at article above, in the example above, you have the opening tag and the closing tag, and the content is nested in between. Attributes. Attributes provides extra information about the element and always specified in an opening tag like so. You see the article, you have the attribute, you have the value, and then you have the closing tag. Now, if you're a little bit confused, you should be. We will go into much depth about tags and attributes. But for right now, take notes, and we'll reference those a little later. Let's just recap what we have. We've talked about tags, we've talked about attributes, and we've talked about elements. HTML has a parent and child structure. It's also called, as I said before, parent and child relationships, where the containing element is referenced to as the parent of the element contained within it. And again, you may not understand this, but you'll understand it a little later. And here's an example. You'll notice and you'll learn a lot more about body as we get into actually HTML. So you have body. Within body, you have H1 headings. That's what H1 stands for. And you also have H2 headings. And within body, you have paragraphs. Within the paragraphs, you have two tags that help you further identify your paragraphs, and we'll talk about those in specifically when we get to that subject. So let's get back. So what is the basic structure of HTML? It is important to keep the contents of your website organized, and that's very important. You must make sure that all the elements of a web page are organized. Folders should have simple one-name words. Multi-word names can be faked by using the underscore character like so. For instance, product images. If you want to use product images, use the underscore. Course files, use the underscore. that makes it legal. I would suggest that any name or element that you create, that you use lowercase, alphanumeric items. Again, basic structure. In the root folder of your site, you'll place your HTML documents called index.html. Index.html is the home page. The first page visitors will see when they arrive at your site. And generally the first item that I code is the index file. The index.html file name is set in stone because Unix-based HTTP servers are configured to look for a document named index.htm or index.html. When no additional file name is specified, the address is below. So that's one of the things you need to make sure is that in every website you must have an index.html, and generally most people have the syntax index.html. Let's talk about images. You will also have a folder reserved for your images. Any image that you're going to display on your website should be in one folder. That's possible you can have more than one folder of images. That is possible. But it's cleaner for you to have one file with the name of image or images or IMG that denotes that you do have an image, or those are where your images are stored. Let me tell you why. One of the reasons you want to make sure you use a standard, because it makes it easier for someone else who's going to maintain a website that you developed to make sure that it is easy for them to find all the information that they need in order to make changes or add to your web page. So really it is making sure that your web page is very well maintained and very well supported because you've used some HTML standards. Let's talk about website folders. This is very important because if you notice below, this is my website. Within my website, I have a number of items there. I have the index.html. I have my a folder for my images. I have folders for any downloads, any additional HTML files that I've created. I have biographies. I have a number of things there. That is kind of the basic structure that you want to make sure that you follow. You'll have more folders there. You'll have CSS folders. You'll have a number of different kinds of folders in your in the folder that contains your website. But these are just an example of what you need to start thinking about when you create a website. And this is a folder that contains all the elements and all the items that will go along with your website. URLs. Let's talk about URLs. The name of any file or folder you create as part of your website structure will eventually become part of a URL. URLs have some restrictions as far as characters that can be used within them, so it's important to be aware of that. And if you go to the bottom here, you'll see that there are some elements or some restrictions that you should not use. Notice you can't use a tab, the space, the quote, and a number of things here that you see that cannot be used, that are restricted. Special characters, however, some special characters are allowable. You got special characters such as the @ symbol, the equal, the ampersand, the percentage, the pound, and those items are acceptable. One other thing to remember if we take a look to the right, spaces are not allowed in URL. Let's go back here. They're not allowed in URLs. You can fake it out, however, by using the underscore. For instance, and we've talked about this before, my underscore website, cute underscore dog, and awesome underscore things. URLs are mostly case sensitive. Therefore, if you were looking for a image called logo.jpg and you referenced it using in HTML as capital logo, capital L and logo.jpg, the server probably wouldn't find it. So you have to be very cognizant of the fact that HTML is case sensitive. My suggestion is that in most cases use lowercase when working and naming items in HTML. Best practices. It's widely accepted among most professional web developers to use only lowercase alphanumeric characters and the underscore when naming files and folders. And it gives you examples there. Go back to the examples. You see my best website, or if you wanted to break that up and make it a little bit more word friendly in many cases, you can use my underscore best underscore website. Okay. One of the things we're going to talk about later is as we get further, a code editor. So until then, we'll talk a little bit later. This has been Wayne Watkins, and we'll talk to you your next lecture. Have a great day.